Good evening, viewers, and welcome back to Prime Live. Now, on Wednesdays, we have a focus and a spotlight on inspiring people who are making a difference in the world of art and culture. And today, we are privileged to have Fikile Elizabeth Ngobeni, who is a visionary space planner and a transformative force in the world of art. She is also the founder of a non-profit organization that aims to uplift and showcase the achievement of women through art. We'll also be talking about her upcoming South African Biennale in 2027, and we are looking forward to some inspiring conversation and some amazing insight from Fikile this evening, and we hope it inspires you as well. Good evening, Fikile. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
I mean, just in our intro, we were talking about, the importance of people like you and the existence of people like you who are, revolutionary in terms of creating spaces for artists, especially female artists in South Africa and within Africa at large. But before we get there, I definitely want to talk about, your background, how it all started. I believe you were retrenched, and this is kind of, a transformative journey to, where you are now. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background, how you started, and how did you end up where you are now?
Okay, so I'm a space planner per profession with triple P contract experience. So the space planning journey has allowed me to travel the African continent, which ignited my love for Africa and its rich culture and heritage. After that, I realized, okay, so in space planning, the main thing we focus on is interior spaces. So the one thing that caught my eye the most was art. So eventually, when I got retrenched, I decided, let me just follow my passion and making an impact to women in Africa in the arts and culture space.
I love that. I love that you took something difficult, because a retrenchment can feel like action, and it can feel like something that you can't bounce back from. But you found something that you loved and you were passionate about, and you used that platform to be able to start a bigger platform and a purpose for women in Africa to be able to showcase their art and give them that opportunity, which from my conversations with a lot of people in the art space in South Africa and in Africa particularly, there aren't a lot of spaces and opportunities for artists to showcase their work, get opportunities and network with the right people. Tell us more, about your non-profit organizations and, some of the projects and initiatives that you guys do within the art space. I know that women empowerment is something that is incredibly important to you, so please tell us more.
So for me, I've traveled extensively doing exhibitions, and I've seen no African women represented in museums. And museums in countries in Europe and America, there's a lot of artists that are represented, but hardly a black African woman. And I believe that that narrative should change. Other than that, my journey has been a roller coaster, but I think I saw beyond the waves and realized that I need to find means to continue with my passion. So we opened an online gallery where we showcase these artworks, and when we started that process, we realized the market that really goes onto our website after our adverts are from European countries and the USA. So we embarked on a journey on doing physical exhibitions in these countries. So to date, we have exhibited in Turkey, we've exhibited in London, and also in Italy. We were supposed to participate in the Malta Biennale 2024. But due to financial injection, we couldn't really participate. But yeah, it's been an incredible roller coaster, but I'm enjoying the ride.
I mean, roller coasters, are sometimes part of the journey.
Yes.
And I mean, you are a testament to the fact that a roller coaster can be overcome. And I really commend you, on the success of the platforms you have started. I mean, the international recognition speaks for itself, that there's a lot of talent within Africa. It's just we lack the spaces we lack providing spaces for, Black African women to be able to showcase their talent, because the talent and the passion is absolutely there. Can you tell us, about some of the challenges that you faced and how you managed to overcome them? I know we have a lot of artists who are watching us right now who might, be able to take some, some nerve or some, inch of bravery and inspiration from your journey, just to be able to show them that, it is possible to overcome.
So I started the nonprofit in 2019, and I received my first funding in 2020. So I had a big dream, but didn't know that a lot of doors will be shut, or not open towards this vision I have. But nonetheless, I continued. It's all about consistency. I believe that, regardless of the obstacles or the rejection, or, it's just consistency, always. And you will rise above every obstacle that comes your way.
Absolutely. I think that's some incredible advice. Consistency and self-belief can get you very, very far. Even if, you're knocking on the doors and the doors are not opening. If you believe enough in yourself and you stay consistent and persistent on your dream and your goal and your vision, you absolutely can get there. Now, there are a lot of us who are not necessarily in the art space, and we want to know a little bit more and, want to get more in touch. You mentioned the Biennale, if I'm butchering that. Tell us more about what that is, what it's about, and there is one coming up in 2027. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So after this Malta situation, another colleague that I was working with for the curation of that project said, we need to do one in South Africa. And I was like, yes, definitely, we do. And he was like, his name is Kensani. He was like, I've got this proposal and I think you can run with it. And I read the proposal and I thought to myself, this is something that South Africa needs. So a Biennale is an event that happens every 2 years. When it happens every 2 years, it lasts for like a month or two in that specific country. Biennale is done all over the world. Nigeria also has its own Biennale, and it has grown tremendously from where it started to where it is right now. So it's like the FIFA World Cup for art. So in essence, why we want to create it is to empower the artists, to bring the audience to them. It's a big project, very big. It needs a lot of hands on deck, but we believe that in 2027, this project will be ready for the world.
That's really, really exciting. And I love that you compared it to the FIFA World Cup of art. And I hope to see, platforms like this grow and increase in popularity, because there are so many creatives that could benefit from a platform like this. And I would love for, creatives all around the world to, know more about it and be able to participate as well. Now, what I also want to talk to you about this evening is you have exhibited in countries all around the world. And, you've worked with a multitude of different artists from Africa who have had this amazing opportunity through your platform to be able to showcase their art as well. What are some of the most memorable parts of, some of the exhibitions? If you could even share one of your most memorable exhibitions and why you found that it was so impactful or memorable.
I think all of them are all memorable. The first one was memorable because I was dressed in my Tsonga regali in the middle of Turkey. So I walked with it from my hotel room to the exhibition space, and people were just like, where is she from? So that experience was quite interesting. Also, it's the language that is always intriguing for me, that you can travel to so many countries. People may look the same as you and not speak the same language. So it's the language, the culture of the city, and how it operates. It's so different from Johannesburg. Another memorable place, I would say, was Italy. Italians are very warm people, especially to foreigners that don't speak English. They try to speak English, but it's not as great. But yeah, there's quite a number of things that I can say are memorable. London was a bit better because the language is not a barrier, but the people there are not a bit warm. They're a bit grumpy because of the weather.
Thank you for sharing, your traveling experiences, as well as, the experience of actually being part of one of the exhibitions as well. I think much like food, art is kind of a universal language that we can all understand. And that's why it's amazing that we can go to all these different places around the world and maybe not being able to utter a sentence to each other. But once we exchange art and we exchange, the art as a platform, we're easily able to understand each other. It's the same, when you go to other countries and being able to try different cuisines, you can understand so much about a culture and its people from its food and from its art as well. It's kind of those universal languages.
I wouldn't say it's a universal language. I would think it's a silent communication where the artist expresses themselves through what they want to see change in, So it's normally about change. It's normally about the pain they've experienced, and it's also about the message they're trying to share with the world. So it's a communication. It's a silent language. Some people go in there just to take pictures in a gallery, but the heart and soul is in that canvas of the artist.
Absolutely. It's a very vulnerable thing to be able to share your pieces on, on a wall in a gallery for thousands of people to be able to interpret your pain, your suffering, or even your message. And you're going to have a lot of people that don't agree with you either. But that's, of course, the power of art, is that it can relay a message. And we've seen that throughout history, the power that art has had to relay pain and suffering of people, and even protest in many ways as well. Now, we want to see, the FIFA World Cup of Art coming to South Africa in 2027. Like you said, it is quite a huge undertaking, as you said, to be able to put something like this together. Yes. What kind of strategic partnerships and things like that would you need for it to be able to come to fruition? You never know who might be watching right now, who could have, the right resources or the right funding to be able to bring it to life. And we absolutely want to see that happening in 2027.
Okay, so we have been in communication with a couple of government entities. The National Arts Council has shown interest. We are looking at corporate also that are big on arts to also partner with us. So the partnership doesn't necessarily mean financial muscle. It also means hands on deck, because this project will need a lot of work. So for example, there'll be 2 pavilions for this project. One pavilion will be for countries from the world, actually not from the African continent. So we'll have France have a little space. So the Department of Arts and Culture, with all the museums that are shutting down, maybe they could lend us one of their buildings to host countries and to host artists from the continent, because it is in South Africa, and I believe priorities should be artists from the continent, as it's the first one, as it grows and it evolves as a project, because it never stays the same. The first year will have its own theme and direction. After 2 years, the second one will have its own theme and direction. Yes, but for the first one, we really need all the help we need, all the help that we can get, curators, writers who are willing to assist, even corporates, government, everyone.
Now, this is a question we're getting from viewers at home. How can they get involved? How can they get involved? How can they assist? And how can they get in touch with you or contact you to be part of, 2027 Art World Cup?
Yes. They can email me on info@africanwomengallery.com.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. But before we let you go, I know that women empowerment is something that is incredibly, incredibly important to you, and as it should be. There needs to be more amplified voices for women in Africa, in the world, especially in our continent of Africa. Can you tell us why women empowerment is something that is so important to you? And in line with that as well, can you tell us what we can do better as a country or as a continent to promote women in art?
Well, there are a lot of shift already. I think there's a lot of shift already. Women are getting the right recognition. It's not as fast as we would like it to be. But in arts, because it's not a, some people think it's not a career, but it is, you know. And I believe that there should be more organizations like my own that steers forward for women and ensuring that their art pieces reaches shores they never thought would reach. So in essence, yes, that is my...
A more powerful thing could not have been said. I couldn't agree more. There needs to be a lot more platforms, much like yours, that are, you know, amplifying female voices in Africa. And as you said, taking them to a global audience and a global space that it does deserve, and the recognition that it does deserve. We thank you so much, Fikile, for joining us this evening. I've really, you know, enjoyed our conversation. I've learned so much from our conversation this evening. And, you know, I really commend you on the work that you have done to, you know, amplify female voices in the international space and take them to those international shores. And I look forward to, you know, welcoming the FIFA World Cup of Art in 2027, and I wish you all the best on your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Viewers at home, please do reach out to Fikile. If you are creative, you are an artist, you are a writer, you are someone who is able to assist, we need to bring 2027 to life, absolutely for sure. And there needs to be more platforms and spaces for female voices to be amplified in the space of art. So if you're a female artist out there, do your part, you know, get in touch with Fikile. See, you never know, maybe your art may be washing up on the shores of Italy one day, or London. It's absolutely possible. And like Fikile said, just be consistent and be persistent, and self-belief is something that is absolutely going to get you there. A career in art is absolutely a career. Don't ever let somebody, you know, tell you different. And people always say that if you're pursuing a career in art, you're going to be unemployed. I've heard that so many times. There is a space for creatives in the world, and if there isn't a space, create them, much like Fikile has with her many platforms that she has created for women in the space of art. So if you're a creative out there, please do reach out to her and, you know, interact with her. She is definitely the person to get involved with. And if you're in your smaller communities and there isn't a place for or a space or an opportunity for artists to create one, reach out to your local businesses and organizations and even government. Reach out to them. It's absolutely time that we start prioritizing creatives in South Africa and giving them a space to showcase their voices. But on that note, viewers, it is time for us to take an ad break, and we'll come right back.